Howdy, finest of people. Today I'm going to, in an attempt to keep a video short, I'm going to react to a short. So it's going to be really short, maybe. Let's see if I can turn this into a 20-minute video or something. Okay, so what we have here is a short video about what's going on as of late with morons destroying property that belongs to others. Unprincipled, awful people. Not the ones that own the stuff, the ones that break the stuff that doesn't belong to them. It's always very easy to break somebody else's stuff. Okay, so let's see what this short is going to cover.
Tesla owners are in danger and massively rebranding their cars. They are trying to distance themselves from the Tesla brand and from Elon Musk. But why?
Yeah, but why? Okay, so for anybody who's been living under a rock for a while, basically what's been going on as of late is because the Trump administration has hired Musk in order to attempt to do the same thing that he did to Twitter, but to the American government. Best of luck with that. He's basically established this department, this sort of extra ministry, so to speak, unilateral ministry called DOGE, which I believe stands for something like Department of General Efficiency or something like that. I don't know. Point is, he and a task force are supposed to look into drastically reducing government cost. That's my understanding of what they're for. Now, obviously, this idea is spun in all sorts of different ways by all sorts of different people, especially media, of course, one of the most disgusting apparatuses of the modern and ancient world alike, I suspect. In order to try and essentially induce discontent into people. Well, there's no reason for it being there. And it's really interesting for somebody who is neutral from this perspective, such as myself, to observe this, because there is no real argument against this particular department outside of the fact that the department is oxymoronically funny. But how in the world would you argue against reducing inefficiency? Right? Surely this is what everybody would want. It's fairly universal. But thanks to media and the education of sheep, who are all going to make the same noise, quite a lot of the sheep are very active, apparently, physically. Though it's difficult to know because media lie all the time, including about this. Right? But anyway, setting the stage, lots of people, very misguided, are destroying other people's property. So what they're doing now is they are finding Tesla vehicles, which of course are associated to Musk because Musk is the CEO of the Tesla car company, a company that he has usurped from Martin Eberhard and other people. I don't recall their names because it doesn't matter to me. Doesn't matter to me practically, but the principle does. And they are destroying these vehicles in some kind of misguided way or plot, there you go, to try and, I don't know, damage Musk. This is awful because this has nothing to do with anything. The people who have purchased Teslas, the irony of all of this, are actually on the side of the lunatics who are doing this, politically speaking, generally speaking. Of course, lots of Teslas have been purchased by lots of different people, right? But a Tesla has, to my understanding, always been some sort of public signal of how environmentally conscious you are. A misguided public signal, because there is no friggin' way in which building more stuff that requires a completely new system of infrastructure, that requires an absurdly high level of power to power, is actually positive for the environment or anything like that. That is mental. Anybody who believes that has mental issues. This is not possible. Production of new stuff and destruction of old stuff is in no way, shape, form, or anything in between environmentally friendly. Quite the opposite. Okay? But anyway, if you bought a Tesla before, you were signaling, at least in part, I am an environmentally conscious individual. Okay, and the, let's call it, selling point of a Tesla compared to all other vehicles, and kudos to Musk and particularly Eberhard for this, is to essentially inject the cool into an electric vehicle. That was the principle. And it worked. It worked pretty well. I mean, with all the marketing, etc. I have no idea if Tesla is profitable by now. My guess is no. But a lot of people have believed in it, and it is definitely one of the most popular car brands out there. It's seen in Europe, it's seen in different places in America, etc., etc. Anyway, the vandals are now destroying private property. Private property belongs to these people, and apparently the people are rebranding their cars, because fortunately vandals are so friggin' stupid and they know nothing. That's one part. And the other part is all modern cars look exactly alike. So if you put an Audi badge on a Tesla, you are very likely to get it actually not noticed, which is quite funny. But anyway, fortunately, these vandal morons who are very, very much caring about climate change have forgotten that they are so concerned with climate change, and therefore burning things or using sprays that I'm not sure help the ozone layer and everything like that to spray paint their cars that belong to someone else are in full force, are out in full force, or in some force. It's difficult to believe anything you see nowadays. Wow, what a world. By the way, very rambly what I've just said. Hopefully some of it comes across. This is obviously so fundamentally wrong. And there's one central problem with all of this, which I'll discuss in a moment. Let's see what else the video has to say.
Why? More and more Tesla cars around the world, especially in the United States, are being vandalized. Vandals scratch cars, damage charging stations for Tesla. Offensive graffiti can be seen on electric cars, broken windows, and sometimes vandals even burn or destroy Tesla.
Oh, the irony. Vandals burn Tesla cars. Wow, that is so very clever. That is so environmentally friendly. But I guess we used to be at war with climate change. Now we're at war with Musk. So beautifully Orwellian. Between Animal Farm and 1984, so beautifully Orwellian. The sheep are breaking everything. Bah, that's what they... Sorry for the terrible impression. But that's what these people are. Or some of them are paid vandals. I really don't know. The fundamental principle of that belongs to someone else. Doesn't matter if you disagree with it. You can't touch it. That is a principle on which many of very important laws, not regulations, laws, the real deal, are based on. Like stuff that you could find in commandments as well, like don't steal. Don't vandalize was never there, because nobody thought this was even a thing back in the day, I suspect, but it is. Don't break things out of... I don't care why. Don't break things that don't belong to you. They don't belong to you. Yeah, but that's the typical position of the petty, envious, useless, communist, small-minded little agent breaking stuff. Pathetic.
Even Tesla dealerships are under attack due to the controversial political actions of Elon Musk.
Oh wow, and you're putting the Batman sign. Do you recall Bruce Wayne? Because Bruce Wayne was a multimillionaire, billionaire, zillionaire, willionaire, or whatever that took matter into his own hands in peculiar ways. I mean, I'm not a fan of Musk, personally, because I find Musk to be a gigantic con artist. But that is from a business perspective. I probably align myself with his political views a fair bit, it looks like, but I don't know. I think he's unprincipled. Whatever the case, especially because... No, I should mention that, especially because he's been lobbying government to add carbon tax to damage other types of vehicles in order to promote his own, which is a gigantic conflict of interest under the, ridiculously misguided point of view of global warming / climate change. Well, that's what he presents. It also happens to line his own pockets and popularize his brand, right? No, so I don't like Elon Musk. But he is ironically close to what a Bruce Wayne would have looked. He is, right? He is a very rich individual that is engaging in some sort of activity that he believes is ameliorating the world. Right? I personally really do wish that very, very, very well-off people who are very successful, like Musk is, for better or for worse, all they would do is just keep their money and enjoy it. The one thing nobody needs is ideologues. Anyway, so it's quite funny that they're putting the Batman sign and saying "Stop Musk now." What a bunch of mentally retarded people.
And his role in the Trump administration's government efficiency department. The tendency to ruin cars intensified after Musk made a scandalous gesture, which some
symbol.
as
what
a
is it?
Nazi salute.
He grabbed his heart and said hi to everybody. I think that was the idea. Let's bury Musk. Let's bury Musk. Let's bear in mind that Musk is quite awkward as an individual. This is demonstrated numerous times in all of his public apparitions. He's incapable of speaking like Obama was without adding 57 million schwas in between every sentence. Schwas are these. And this is probably him simply trying to endear himself to a crowd in a very awkward way. Yeah. It's very comfortable to read whatever you want in whatever you see and give yourself some kind of pseudo-legitimacy. So what? By doing that, apparently he's using the Roman salute? Is that what's happening? Yeah? I don't think Musk knows how to pronounce the word Ave. He has no idea what it is. I mean, this is my personal take, which I probably shouldn't share so openly because it's obviously just as baseless as the other one. Point is, my baseless take is at least harmless and certainly will not lead me to take matters into my own hands like a crappy version of Batman going and destroying property that belongs to others. Anyway.
To avoid vandalism, owners of Tesla cars have started rebranding their cars and are trying to distance themselves.
I mean, look at that. That is awesome. That so looks real. 2-liter turbo Audi A5. I mean, I know nothing about Audis because all German cars are terminally boring and have been for the past 40 years. But that is uncanny. That totally looks like the back of an Audi. All modern cars look so dull of every brand. But yeah, this is pretty good, man. This is pretty good. I mean, you wouldn't fool me because car expert is a strong word, but I know a fair bit about cars and I care about them very much. But that is pretty good. I think you may pass unnoticed with that. Oh, even the plate little thing says Audi. Wow, gone the extra mile. Not bad, not bad. That little spoiler, what does that indicate? That this is a Model 3 Plaid or something? Cool.
From the brand. Now you can see a Tesla with the logo of Toyota, Mazda, Honda, Audi, etc. What do you think about this whole situation?
Well, I've told you what I think about this whole situation. This situation is ridiculous, and all of the people who are doing this are criminals. Now, let's talk about solutions. Solutions are very, 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 very simple. Law needs to return to being law, and government needs to return to doing the one thing that it should do, that it does like absolute crap because it's busy doing all sorts of other things. Government should have exactly 3 functions at best because those can't really be improved by private enterprise, as far as Milton Friedman could tell. And if Milton Friedman says something, as far as I'm concerned, unless I can rebuttal it in any logical way, he is right because he's always right. Okay, and he says government needs to do 3 things. One is military, so external defense. Defense, I underline the word defense, not offense, Kissinger. I know you're dead, but relax. So defense. Then 2 is internal defense, so policing. And 3, arbitration, so courts. These are the 3 things government needs to do. I suppose taxation is part of it to finance these 3 things, so 4, right? These are the things that government needs to do. Okay, brilliant. So, if these are the 3 things the government needs to do, explain to me why government sucks terminally at all 3 of these. So, everywhere in Europe, there is no military except Portugal, I guess. Right? I mean, it's just pathetic. Then, the police everywhere is completely incompetent in dealing with crime. because vandalism, aka destruction of property, is a very, very obvious crime. Like I said, that fits under the most basic of laws. Don't steal. Don't break somebody else's stuff. Don't do stuff to other people's stuff. It's not difficult, right? And the arbitration system, so courts and everything, are terminally and permanently clogged with all sorts of stuff. That is, again, global, okay? So these three things the government sucks at, which is the only three things that the government should be doing, okay? So it's very simple. When there is vandalism occurring, and Tesla cars are filming everything, so it's relatively easy to see this type of vandalism and finding the criminal. I say relatively. Don't get your knickers in a bunch, Mr. Pedantic viewer. Okay. This needs to be punished severely. And I mean severely. Like Hammurabi Code style. Right? Cut their hands off. That sort of beautiful thing. Okay? That would certainly start really slowing this down. So that is, in my humble opinion, a solution to the problem. But because all governments are refusing to punish criminals, and they are punishing, thought criminals such as myself, instead, this will continue. And people's property will be destroyed. And the poor idiots who previously bought Teslas, and some of them are now desperately looking to get rid of them, either because of this problem or because they themselves are ideologically wanting to distance themselves from Musk. They need to suffer the consequences of the fact that external factors that have nothing to do with their purchase decision are now dramatically devaluing their property, or worse, destroying it. Terribly sorry for you people. This is wrong. And if the government is not going to defend you, well, you got to start defending yourselves. So, carry a beautiful baseball bat, right? And if a moron comes out and starts spraying your car, smash their skulls in. Whoa, maybe I shouldn't say this sort of thing. Figuratively. That's what I meant. This is all a joke. But the government doesn't defend you. And you obviously must be defended. Because this crime is obvious towards you. You need to defend yourself. You need to defend your property. And that's what you're attempting to do by deceiving these morons into thinking that your car is not indeed a Tesla, but it's one of the awful other companies that are causing climate change and all sorts of air pollution and everything like that by having, hybrid vehicles with 3 cylinders in them. Yeah. This is terrible. This is terrible. This is really a world I don't want to grow my children in, but, if there is a hope for a future, the children need to exist. Please don't paint a crude penis on me. Yeah, beg a bully. I'm sure that's going to work. Sorry, people.